Today, I am challenging the concept of divine intervention and simply exploring some really uncomfortable truths. So let's get right into it. So because of the recent medical event that happened with Bishop T.D. Jakes, I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to just do sort of a case study and kind of dissect and dive into some thought-provoking dialogue and just have some good conversation. So at the start of this medical emergency, everybody begins to pray. The preacher tells everybody, let's begin to pray.
Everybody begin to pray. Come on, stretch your hands this way. Father, in the name of Jesus, we speak life over the man of God right now.
So at this point, you have like 10 to 50,000 people praying between the people that were in the church and the people that were online streaming. Here's my first question. Does it take 50,000 people to pray for one thing or one person? I used to ask myself this question as a teenager, like, why did it take so many all-night prayers? Why did it take so many people having to bombard heaven just to get a prayer through? Was it that one person's prayer wasn't enough, or was it that he heard a crowd of people's prayers over an individual's prayers? So let's get back into it. What is God doing in this exact moment in the video? Is he looking down from heaven like, I hear all them people praying and yelling my name and screaming for this man to be healed, but I think I'm gonna chill for a little bit. So did prayer work at this particular point in time? I'm gonna say no. Why? Because the ambulance still had to come. The fact of the matter is they did not trust that all of that hollering, all of that calling on the name of Jesus, all of that speaking in tongues was not going to be enough to save that man's life. They felt that they still needed to call 911, and I don't blame them. So in that specific instance, was God not more powerful than 911? They were literally in his house, in his sanctuary, calling his name, but yet they still felt the need to call 911. In the midst of 5 to 10,000 people and probably 50,000 people online, 911 still had the power. But let's move on. So now the church clears out, the ambulance comes in, Bishop Jakes is rolled out on a stretcher, and he goes to the hospital. So now there's a waiting period. So let's talk about what happens during the wait. Honestly, I feel like the whole church was probably terrified, afraid. It's nothing worse than being in limbo. I was even afraid for the man. It doesn't matter if you like a person. It doesn't matter if you believe in how they preach or teach or whatever the case. You don't want bad things to happen to a person. You don't want ill to come to a person. So everybody was afraid. So at this point in time, you have so many people still sending up prayers, still calling on God. But here's my thing. While all of these people were sending up prayers, you also have the doctors and the nurses who were doing their jobs as well. Here's where I want you to use your critical thinking skills. So what were these nurses and doctors doing? And what was God doing in that particular moment with the nurses and doctors? Choice A, was he supernaturally giving these doctors and nurses the secrets about what it is that they should do for this man? Not the doctor's skills, not the techniques, not the degrees they have, not the many, many years of schooling, but was God whispering to them what they should do for this man in this very moment? And that means that prayer was answered. Hold the scalpel. I'm going to say no. Choice B, was he holding his hand back, like the hand of death back? Like, okay, nope. I know I can take him out, but nope. I'm going to wait and I'm going to spare his life one more time. I'm going to say no. Or C, was he non-existent? You know what? I'm going to go with C. I'm going to go with C. I don't know about y'all. So why did it take multiple prayers and multiple people to answer this man's prayer? This is a bishop we're talking about. He literally preaches to the masses Sunday after Sunday, Wednesday after Wednesday about the fact that God can do all things and that he can answer prayer. Now, let's use critical thinking one more time. I want you to think about a natural father. Actually, I'll use my father. Let's say I'm at my parents' house and my dad has the ability to heal me. He has the ability to heal. He has the ability to do all things. So we're sitting at the house and all of a sudden I'm slumped over and he sees it. I call out to him like, Father, heal me. Do you think my dad is going to sit around and think about whether or not he should heal me? Or do you think in that very moment, he's going to do whatever he has to do to make sure that I'm healed? He's going to touch my heart. He's going to touch whatever it is. He's going to speak the word and I'm going to be healed. Why? Because he's my father. Duh. He would immediately help. Immediately. Can you imagine my father waiting days and days and days while I'm screaming out to him, asking for healing, and he decides to let me go to the hospital, experience a near-death surgery, allows me to recover just so that I can heal normally like any other person would heal normally who didn't even necessarily believe in God? Ain't no way. So let's move on. Now we get to the response, and Bishop Jakes decides to address his congregation. Honestly, let me say this. Church people can be really annoying sometimes because they can't wait to take anything and turn it into a deep moment. But okay, just listen really quickly to a few things that he had to say.
Many of you don't realize that you're looking at a miracle. I faced a life-threatening calamity, was rushed to the ICU unit. I had emergency surgery, and I'm grateful to God for his goodness and his mercy. Sometimes things happen in this spiritual warfare. Greater is he that is in us than he that's in the world. I can feel your prayers. You're looking at a miracle. I was in the ICU unit, and the person beside me on the day they let me out, one of the reasons I was so emotional was I felt the sun hit my face at the same time that a person down the hallway was being taken to the morgue. And it just reminded me of God's faithfulness.
You're looking at a miracle? Where is the miracle? You had a life-threatening calamity. You were rushed to ICU and had emergency surgery and survived the surgery. Spiritual warfare. So now this means you were under attack. So God is faithful because your life was spared, but the person beside you who was being wheeled out to the morgue, I guess God wasn't faithful to them. I don't know, man. Y'all tell me. Here's my question too, and I'll end it here. I wonder sometimes what the doctors be thinking, the doctors and the nurses who never get any credit most times when it comes to a lot of Christians. They'll think everybody, I want to thank God. I want to thank my congregation. I want to thank my pastor. What about the doctor that saved your life? I wonder how they be feeling, but I don't know. All right, but here's my question I want to ask today. Did God answer Bishop Jakes' prayer during his medical emergency, or was this just a normal order of events? He got sick. He was rushed to the ER. The doctors and the nurses did scans. They ran tests. They probably did some blood work, found that he needed emergency surgery. He had the surgery, survived the surgery, and now he's healing and recovering under the doctor's orders like he would do normally, or anybody else would do normally. Let me know in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for reaching 1,000 subscribers. I am super, super excited, and I promise to continue to bring you thought-provoking content so that we can continue to have these wonderful conversations. Until next time.